If bottled water is marketed as pure, natural, and untouched by human hands, why did independent laboratory testing find microplastics and the plastic chemical BPA in products from Evian, FIJI water, and Aquafina? And why are Dasani and Aquafina both filtered tap water from the same municipal sources that flow through your kitchen faucet for a fraction of a penny per gallon? Americans spent $48 billion on bottled water in 2023. Bottled water is now the most consumed packaged beverage in the United States, surpassing soda. The industry has achieved this dominance through one of the most successful marketing campaigns in commercial history, convincing hundreds of millions of consumers to pay 200 to 3,000 times the cost of tap water for a product that is, in many cases, literally tap water that has been filtered and put in a plastic bottle with a picture of a mountain on it. What if I told you that Dasani, owned by Coca-Cola, and Aquafina, owned by PepsiCo, both source their water from municipal tap water supplies, the same water that comes out of your faucet? What if a Las Vegas jury awarded over $8.4 billion in damages against Real Water after consumers developed liver failure from drinking alkaline water contaminated with hydrazine, a chemical used in rocket fuel? What if the Plastic Pollution Coalition has filed lawsuits against PepsiCo, FIJI Water, and Danone in 2025, alleging that their products contain microplastics and BPA while being marketed as pure and natural? What if Perrier recalled 160 million bottles in 1990 after finding benzene, a human carcinogen, at 5 times the federal limit? What if Poland Spring was sued for selling ordinary groundwater as 100% natural spring water? Studies have found microplastics in over 90% of bottled water brands tested, meaning the pure water you are buying can contain particles of the very plastic bottle it comes in. Today, we are examining 16 water brands and marketing systems. This is not about whether water is essential. It is the most essential substance on Earth. This is about an industry that takes a product available from your tap for a fraction of a penny per gallon, puts it in a plastic bottle that contaminates it with microplastics, labels it with images of mountains and glaciers and the word pure, charges you 200 to 3,000 times the tap water price, and then markets the plastic bottle as 100% recyclable, when the vast majority of plastic bottles are never actually recycled. The bottled water industry is the most profitable markup in the grocery store. It is also, according to the lawsuits, one of the most deceptive. Let us compare the promise to the product. Claim by claim, lie by lie. Number 16. Store brand purified water. The claim is purified water. Every major grocery chain sells its own store brand purified water. Purified means the water has been processed through distillation, deionization, or reverse osmosis, typically from a municipal tap water supply. Store brand purified water is tap water that has been filtered and bottled. A consumer who buys store brand water for 50 cents a bottle is paying approximately 400 times what the same water costs from the tap after municipal treatment. The purification claim is accurate. The value proposition is not. The water was already purified by the municipal treatment plant before the bottling company filtered it again. Number 15. Nestle Pure Life. The claim is Pure Life, purified water enhanced with minerals. Nestle Pure Life is now owned by Blue Triton Brands after Nestle sold its North American water business. It is purified municipal water with added minerals. The word pure in the brand name communicates an absolute quality that purified water does not possess. Nestle faced allegations of depleting groundwater sources in communities where it operated bottling plants, including controversies in Michigan and California, where the company extracted water during droughts while local residents faced water restrictions. The company was sued over its Pure Life purified brand name, with plaintiffs alleging the label misrepresented the purity of the water. Taking municipal water that a community needs, bottling it in plastic that contaminates it with microplastics, and selling it back to the same community at a massive markup under the label Pure Life is not a water business. It is an extraction business with a marketing department. Number 14. Dasani. The claim is, treat yourself well with Dasani. Dasani, owned by Coca-Cola, is purified tap water with added minerals, including magnesium sulfate, potassium chloride, and salt. The minerals are added to create a consistent taste profile. In 2021, a class action lawsuit was filed against Dasani, claiming its 100% recyclable bottles are not fully recyclable. Dasani's launch in the United Kingdom was a marketing catastrophe. The British press discovered that Dasani was filtered tap water, and Coca-Cola was forced to withdraw the product from the United Kingdom market after also finding elevated levels of bromate, a potential carcinogen. European consumers rejected the premise of paying a premium for bottled tap water. American consumers accepted it. Dasani remains one of the best-selling bottled water brands in the United States. The same product that was laughed out of the United Kingdom is a multi-billion-dollar brand in America. The difference is not the water, it is the marketing. Number 13. Aquafina. The claim is pure water, perfect taste. Aquafina, owned by PepsiCo, also uses filtered municipal tap water as its source. In 2015, PepsiCo began labeling Aquafina bottles to indicate the water comes from a public water source, an acknowledgement prompted by years of consumer advocacy and media scrutiny. In April 2025, the Plastic Pollution Coalition filed a lawsuit against PepsiCo, alleging false and deceptive marketing of Aquafina, including claims that the packaging is 100% recyclable and that the bottles do not contain BPA, when test results allegedly revealed BPA in the plastic. PFAS, forever chemicals, are also under investigation in Aquafina products. PepsiCo was identified as the top global plastic polluter in 2023, producing more branded plastic waste than any other company, including Coca-Cola. Aquafina's pure water claim describes filtered tap water in a plastic bottle that may contain the very chemical contaminants the word pure promises to exclude. The purity is a marketing aspiration, not a chemical guarantee. Number 12. Poland Spring. The claim is 100% natural spring water. Poland Spring, now owned by Blue Triton Brands, was the subject of one of the most significant bottled water lawsuits in American history. A class action alleged that Poland Spring was fooling customers into buying ordinary groundwater that did not meet the FDA definition of spring water. The lawsuit claimed none of Poland Spring's water sources qualified as genuine springs, and that the company was selling groundwater collected from wells near sites where springs had once existed. Blue Triton settled the lawsuit for $63 million in 2021, while denying wrongdoing. Settlement testing and separate analysis also found microplastics and phthalates in Poland spring water. The 100% natural spring water label creates the image of water flowing pristine from a rocky outcrop in the Maine wilderness. The lawsuit alleged the water came from wells dug near former spring sites. The label remained essentially unchanged. The cost of the settlement was less than the cost of telling the truth on the label. The Poland Spring case is one of the most significant in bottled water history because it challenges the foundational claim of the spring water category. If the most iconic spring water brand in America was allegedly not sourcing from genuine springs, the consumer who pays a premium specifically for spring water over purified water may be paying for a geological distinction that does not exist. The settlement resolved the claims without admitting wrongdoing. The company paid $63 million to end the litigation, while neither confirming nor denying whether its water comes from springs. The amount is significant. The lack of resolution about the underlying factual question is more significant. Consumers still do not know definitively whether Poland spring water comes from actual springs or from wells near where springs used to be. Number 11. FIJI water. The claim: natural artesian water, Earth's finest water. Untouched. FIJI water, owned by the Wonderful Company, markets itself as natural artesian water from an underground aquifer in Fiji, protected from external elements and untouched by human hands. In January 2025, the Plastic Pollution Coalition filed a lawsuit alleging false and deceptive marketing, noting that independent laboratory testing found both microplastics and BPA in FIJI water natural water products. In March 2024, 1.9 million bottles of FIJI water were voluntarily recalled due to high levels of manganese and bacteria. Fiji water is shipped over 5,000 miles from the South Pacific to American grocery stores, generating substantial carbon emissions for a product marketed with environmental imagery. The untouched claim describes water that has been pumped from an aquifer, processed through a bottling facility, sealed in plastic that leaches microplastics and BPA into the water, and shipped halfway around the world in carbon-emitting freight containers. Untouched is the most ambitious single word in the entire bottled water industry. Every step of Fiji water's supply chain involves human touch, industrial processing, and chemical contamination from the packaging itself. Fiji water is also one of the most expensive regular bottled waters in the grocery store, commanding prices that reflect its origin story and premium positioning. The Wonderful Company, which also owns Palm Wonderful Pistachios and Teleflora, generates billions in revenue through premium branding across multiple product categories. The Fiji water brand is a masterpiece of geographic marketing. The distance from Fiji to your grocery shelf, over 5,000 miles, is presented as a quality feature rather than the environmental liability it represents. The remoteness communicates pure. The distance communicates exclusivity. The carbon emissions from shipping communicate something the label does not mention. Number 10. Evian. The claim is natural mineral water, and the tagline is Live Young. Evian, owned by Danone, is marketed as natural mineral water sourced from the French Alps. In 2024, the Plastic Pollution Coalition sued Danone, alleging that Evian's natural and sustainable marketing claims are misleading because independent laboratory testing found both microplastics and BPA in the water. In March 2025, a DC Superior Court denied Danone's motion to dismiss, ruling that the plaintiff had sufficiently pleaded that Danone's natural spring water labeling and sustainability claims could be misleading to consumers. A French regulatory investigation, prompted by a whistleblower from a mineral water bottling company, found practices inconsistent with regulations at Perrier, also owned by Danone. Evian charges among the highest prices in the bottled water market based on its natural French alpine origin story. The natural label describes water that contains synthetic microplastics and a plastic chemical. The Live Young tagline communicates vitality. The microplastics in the bottle communicate industrial contamination. The premium the consumer pays for Evian funds. The alpine imagery that makes tap water with microplastics seem like a luxury product. Number 9. Perrier. The claim is naturally sparkling mineral water. Perrier, also owned by Danone, had one of the most devastating recalls in food and beverage history. In 1990, the company discovered benzene contamination at 5 times the federal limit, prompting a recall and the destruction of 160 million bottles at a cost of $250 million. Benzene is a human carcinogen, found in crude oil and gasoline. More recently, a French regulatory investigation found practices inconsistent with regulations at Perrier facilities. Perrier's naturally sparkling claim communicates that the carbonation occurs naturally in the source. The benzene recall demonstrated that natural water sources can contain natural carcinogens. The word natural on a water bottle does not mean safe, it means unprocessed. Unprocessed water can contain benzene, arsenic, manganese, bacteria, and other contaminants that processing is designed to remove. The premium that consumers pay for natural water is sometimes paying for less safety, not more. Number 8. Voss. The claim is pure. From an artesian source in southern Norway. Voss markets itself as a premium water brand, with its distinctive cylindrical glass or plastic bottle commanding high prices in stores, and significantly more in restaurants and hotels. Voss is under investigation for potential PFAS contamination, and attorneys are exploring whether class action lawsuits can be filed. The Voss brand is built almost entirely on packaging design. The cylindrical bottle communicates luxury, the Norwegian origin communicates purity, and the premium price communicates exclusivity. The water inside is the least differentiated component of the product. At $3 to $5 per bottle, consumers are paying primarily for the glass cylinder and the brand name. Even water from a genuine artesian source does not cost a fraction of the retail price. Voss is a packaging company that sells water. It is not a water company that sells packaging. Number 7. Real water. The claim was alkalized water and stable negative ionization. Real Water, a company based in Las Vegas, is the most extreme case of bottled water marketing gone catastrophically wrong. Multiple consumers developed acute liver failure after drinking the product. In 2023 and 2024, juries awarded a combined $8.4 billion in damages across 3 separate trials. Attorneys for the plaintiffs argued that the water was contaminated with hydrazine, a carcinogen used to treat industrial water boilers and as a component in rocket fuel. The company was shut down and went bankrupt. Real Water marketed itself with pseudoscientific claims about negative ionization and alkaline pH levels. The marketing promised health benefits, but the product delivered liver failure. $8.4 billion in damages is the highest award in the history of bottled water litigation. The alkaline water trend, which makes unsubstantiated health claims about pH levels and ionization, created the market conditions that allowed Real Water to sell a toxic product under a health halo. The pseudoscience created the demand, and the contamination created the catastrophe. Real Water is an extreme case, but the alkaline water trend it represents continues to generate billions in revenue through health claims that have no FDA approval and minimal scientific support. Dozens of alkaline water brands make vague claims about pH balance, hydration, and wellness that exploit consumer desire for health optimization without providing the clinical evidence that would be required for a drug or for a supplement making similar claims. Water marketed with health claims occupies a regulatory gray zone. It is not a drug, so it does not require clinical trials. It is not a supplement, so it does not require the qualified health claims that supplements must carry. It is water with a marketing story, and that marketing story can include pseudoscientific language about ionization and alkalinity without any regulatory consequence until someone gets sick. Number 6. Penefiel Mineral Spring Water. The claim is mineral spring water. Penefiel, owned by Keurig Dr. Pepper, was recalled in June 2019 after Consumer Reports found arsenic levels nearly double the federal limit of 10 parts per billion. Arsenic is a known human carcinogen. The mineral spring water label communicates purity and natural mineral content. The arsenic in the water was naturally occurring from the aquifer that supplied the water. This is the fundamental deception of the natural water marketing paradigm. Natural water sources contain whatever the geology puts in them, including heavy metals, carcinogens, and other contaminants. Municipal tap water is treated specifically to remove these contaminants. The premium consumers pay for natural spring or mineral water can mean paying for water that has not undergone the treatment that would remove those naturally occurring toxins. Number 5. The microplastics crisis. The claim was pure, natural, clean. A landmark 2024 study found microplastics in over 90% of bottled water brands tested. The microplastics come primarily from the plastic bottles and caps themselves, meaning the packaging that contains the water contaminates the water. Bottled water contains significantly more microplastics than tap water. A 2018 study found an average of 325 microplastic particles per liter of bottled water, compared to approximately 5.5 particles per liter of tap water. The product marketed as purer than tap water contains approximately 60 times more microplastic particles than the tap water it claims to improve upon. Every brand that labels its water as pure while selling it in plastic bottles is selling a product that the packaging itself makes less pure. The solution to the alleged impurity of tap water introduces a contamination that tap water does not have. The plastic bottle is not just packaging, it is an ingredient. The microplastics crisis in bottled water is the single most ironic finding in the history of consumer product testing. Consumers buy bottled water because they perceive it as cleaner than tap water, and the plastic bottle that delivers that perceived cleanliness is the source of a contamination that tap water does not have. The consumer who switches from tap water to bottled water to avoid impurities is introducing a new impurity, microplastics, that they would not have consumed from their faucet. The marketing created the fear. The plastic bottle created the contamination. The consumer pays a premium for the privilege of introducing plastic particles into their drinking water. This is not a hypothetical concern. Studies have identified microplastics in human blood, human organs, and human placentas. The long-term health effects are still being studied, but the presence of plastic particles in the human body is a documented fact, and bottled water is one of the primary routes of exposure. Number 4. The tap water revelation. The claim is purified. Premium. Dasani and Aquafina are filtered tap water. Together, they represent a significant share of the American bottled water market. Coca-Cola and PepsiCo take municipal water that costs a fraction of a penny per gallon, filter it through processes any consumer could replicate with a home filtration system, add minerals for taste consistency, pour it into plastic bottles that leach microplastics into the water, and sell it for $1 to $3 per bottle. The markup ranges from approximately 200 to 3,000 times the cost of the source material. No other consumer product in the grocery store achieves this margin. The images on the bottles show mountains, streams, and pristine landscapes, but the water comes from the same pipes that supply your kitchen sink. The purification the brands advertise is available from a $40 home filter that attaches to your faucet. The entire premise of Dasani and Aquafina, that the consumer needs a corporation to purify their tap water and sell it back at a 3,000% markup, is the most profitable marketing proposition in the American grocery store. Number 3. The recyclability lie. The claim is 100% recyclable. Bottled water companies prominently label their products as 100% recyclable. Lawsuits have been filed against multiple brands challenging this claim. The Plastic Pollution Coalition suits against PepsiCo, Danone, and FIJI Water cite recyclability claims as part of deceptive marketing. The reality is that the vast majority of plastic bottles are never recycled. Industry and environmental data show that plastic bottles collected for recycling are most often sent to landfills, incinerated, or shipped overseas, rather than being recycled into new products. The 100% recyclable claim describes a theoretical capability of the material, not the actual fate of the bottle. A product that is theoretically recyclable but practically landfilled is not honestly described as recyclable without qualification. The recycling symbol on the bottle communicates environmental responsibility. The landfill where the bottle ends up communicates the opposite. Number 2. The regulatory gap. The claim is regulated for quality. Municipal tap water is regulated by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, which requires regular testing, public disclosure of contaminant levels, and notification to consumers when standards are exceeded. Bottled water is regulated by the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, which does not require bottlers to disclose contaminant testing results to the public, does not require notification of contamination unless it rises to a recall level, and conducts fewer inspections than the EPA requires for municipal water. The consumer who buys bottled water believing it is more regulated than tap water has the regulatory framework exactly backwards. Tap water is subject to more frequent testing, more transparent reporting, and more rigorous enforcement than bottled water. The perception that bottled water is safer than tap water has been created by marketing, not by regulatory reality. In many American municipalities, the tap water is tested more frequently and held to stricter standards than the bottled water sitting on the grocery shelf. This regulatory inversion is the bottled water industry's greatest marketing achievement. The industry did not need to prove that bottled water is safer than tap water. It only needed to create the impression that tap water is unsafe. Decades of marketing, combined with real water crises like Flint, Michigan, created a generalized distrust of tap water that the bottled water industry has monetized into a $48 billion annual revenue stream. The irony is that the Flint water crisis was caused by failures in government oversight of municipal water. The solution the market offered was bottled water, which is subject to even less government oversight than the municipal system that failed. Number 1. The bottled water marketing industrial complex. The American bottled water industry does not have a water problem. It has a perception problem that it solved by spending billions on marketing. The industry convinced Americans that their tap water, one of the most regulated and tested water supplies in the developed world, is not good enough. It then took that same tap water, filtered it through processes available in consumer home products, poured it into plastic bottles that contaminate it with microplastics and BPA, shipped it in trucks that burn fossil fuels, priced it at 200 to 3,000 times the cost of the source material, and marketed the result as pure, natural, and sustainable. The marketing images show mountains. The water comes from municipal pipes. The labels say natural. The tests show microplastics and BPA. The bottles say recyclable. The landfills say otherwise. And the price says premium for a product your kitchen faucet delivers for a fraction of a penny. What is the alternative? The answer has been in your kitchen the entire time. A home water filter from Brita, PUR, or Berkey attached to your faucet or sitting on your counter provides filtration comparable to what Dasani and Aquafina charge 3,000% markups to deliver. Municipal tap water in most American communities meets or exceeds the quality standards of bottled water and is tested more frequently. A reusable stainless steel or glass water bottle eliminates the microplastic contamination that plastic bottles introduce into the very water they claim to purify. For consumers and communities with genuinely compromised water infrastructure, home reverse osmosis systems provide purification equivalent to what bottled water companies use at a fraction of the per-gallon cost. These alternatives prove that clean water does not require a corporation, a plastic bottle, a mountain photograph, or a 3,000% markup. The most effective water purification system in America is the municipal treatment plant your taxes already pay for. Everything the bottled water industry sells you is a solution to a problem that, for most Americans, the government already solved. Here are the red flags. If the label says purified water, it is filtered tap water regardless of the brand name or mountain imagery. If the label says natural spring water, but the brand settled a $63 million lawsuit for selling groundwater, the label survived the lawsuit, but the claim did not. If the label says natural but independent testing found microplastics and BPA, the bottle is contaminating the water it claims to purify. If the label says 100% recyclable, but you know the bottle will end up in a landfill, the claim describes a theoretical possibility, not a practical reality. If the water comes from Fiji and was shipped 5,000 miles in a cargo container, the carbon footprint contradicts the environmental imagery on the label. And if a $40 home filter delivers the same purification as a brand that charges $3 per bottle, the remaining $2.99 is paying for the label, the plastic, and the marketing. Let me be direct about what this investigation has revealed. 16 brands and systems examined. $48 billion in annual revenue dissected. A pattern of tap water relabeling, microplastic contamination, recyclability fraud, regulatory exploitation, pseudoscientific health claims, and the most extreme markup in the American grocery store documented across an industry that sells you your own water supply at a 3,000% premium. Dasani and Aquafina are filtered tap water sold at 3,000% markups. Poland Spring settled for $63 million over spring water claims. Real Water caused liver failure and faces $8.4 billion in damages. Penefiel was recalled for arsenic. Perrier was recalled for benzene. FIJI water was recalled for manganese and bacteria. Microplastics are found in over 90% of bottled water. Bottled water contains 60 times more microplastic particles than tap water. 3 lawsuits in 2025 allege that pure and natural water contains BPA and microplastics. And the EPA regulates your tap water more strictly than the FDA regulates the bottled water you pay 3,000% more for. The label says pure. The test says microplastics. The label says natural. The source says municipal tap. The label says recyclable. The landfill says otherwise. The label says mountain spring. The lawsuit says groundwater. And the price says $3 for what your faucet delivers for a fraction of a penny. You did not buy water. You bought a plastic bottle with a picture of a mountain on it. Now you know what is real. The final truth about bottled water is mathematical. A gallon of municipal tap water costs on average less than 1 cent. A gallon of bottled water costs between $3 and $8, depending on the brand. That represents a markup of between 300 and 800 times the source material cost. No other product in the American grocery store achieves this margin. Not cheese, not olive oil, not wine, not coffee. Water. The most abundant substance on the planet's surface, available in most American homes through pipes that deliver it on demand, is the most profitable product in the grocery store when put in a plastic bottle with a label. The $48 billion bottled water industry is the most successful marketing achievement in the history of consumer products. It convinced the richest country in the world, with one of the most regulated water treatment systems on Earth, to pay 300 to 3,000 times the market rate for its own water supply, delivered in packaging that contaminates the product, marketed with environmental claims that the landfill contradicts, and labeled with words like pure and natural that independent testing has proven false. Your kitchen faucet is the alternative. It always was. You did not buy water, you bought a commercial. Now you know what is real.